Today we're going to tell you about natural selection, evolution, and population ecology. Let's start with some good old natural selection and evolution. We will now talk about two types of traits that might be selected for or against in nature. The eggs shown here are often laid in a pebble-like environment. Because they are dark, they are camouflaged. It is therefore hard for a predator like this one to see those eggs. The predator will search, but they will be unable to find the eggs. Therefore, the genetics of the animals laid from these eggs will be passed on, and the trait will continue down. With this type of egg, the bird has no choice but to walk away unsatisfied and still hungry. This egg is an example of one that does not blend into the environment. The bright red color contrasts with the landscape.
Enemy spotted.
The bird easily sees this one. In this scenario, the dark eggs survived while the light eggs were seen by the predator and eaten. Because they were eaten, the light egg will not pass on its genetic material, resulting in darker eggs that blend in with the environment. In other words, the light egg has been selected against by nature while the dark egg has been naturally selected. Next we will talk about sexual selection. This is when certain characteristics of an organism better help them to sexually reproduce. This often leads to drastic changes of traits. A male peacock's feathers may seem pointless to survival, but in the case of sexual selection, they help them to find a mate. Today we will observe two beautiful birds as they use their arms to do a dance that would attract their mates.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
As you can see, any female bird would go crazy over this kind of dance. The males with the superior traits for attracting the females will be the ones to reproduce. These beneficial sexual traits will be obtained by their children. After selective pressures like the ones shown earlier, eventually evolution occurs within a species. A species evolves in a way that gains traits that help them to survive. Whether the trait helps them simply to collect their food or to escape a predator, they will evolve in a way that helps them. Now let's take a look at a specific species and how it will evolve to escape its predator. Though it may take many generations, as seen with this animal, the species will evolve to better survive. In this scenario, the animal's posture changed. The animals in this population who had changed to have a higher posture had a better advantage and therefore survived. They passed on this trait to their children, until the entire species evolved to carry the tall traits. As a result of evolution, specialization has occurred. This is when an organism or a specific organ becomes specialized in some sort of trait. Giraffes are a great example of a specialized organism. After years of evolution, giraffes have become specialized by having long necks. They are able to eat the leaves off of the trees that are high up and they need to survive. They also have long tongues that allow them to scoop up these delicious leaves. Let's take a look at some other specialized organisms. Birds can fly. This allows them to escape predators and reach food that is far away. Slow organisms like this turtle would normally be vulnerable, but in this case it has a hard protective shell that protects it from predators. Some fish like this one are able to blend in with their environment so that they are not seen by their predators. Some organisms can jump very high. Some organisms are even capable of lifting large amounts of weight. Now it's time to cover some population ecology. Time for some lightning-fast terms. A population is a group of specific organisms of the same species living in a specific area. A community is all the species and populations interacting in a specific area at one time. Population density is the number of organisms that fit into that population. Population dispersion has to do with how a population is dispersed. They can be clumped, uniform, or very random. Competition, duh, it's competition. Interspecific competition is between two different species. This is normally over some sort of resource. Intraspecific competition is between members of the same species. This can be over land, mates, resources, and many other things. Symbiotic relationships are one that benefit both organisms. Parasitic relationships benefit one and harm another. In commensalism, one organism benefits while the other has no effect. Now let's take a look at trophic levels. This chain consists of grass and plants as the producers, deer and rabbits as the primary consumers, and the wolf as a secondary consumer. These arrows represent which organism is eaten by which. The wolf eats the deer and the rabbit and the deer eat the grass and the plants. This blue arrow represents the amount of energy lost in metabolic processes as you increase in trophic levels. The energy will usually decrease by around 90% as you go up each trophic level. Oh yes, and we can't forget the recyclers of this energy, the decomposers. When you add those guys on, it almost looks like... Now let's see how changing one animal population in these levels would affect the other ones.
Hey, my name is Luke, and I'm a professional survivalist.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm a professional ecologist.
Come on, cameraman, stay close. Don't touch that!
Sam and Luke are going into the woods and adding themselves as predators. They will be eating specific species and seeing what it does to the other species' populations.
Nature! Biology! As you can see, we've been surviving pretty nicely. We've had a diet of strictly rabbits.
As you can see by the video, Sam and Luke decided to go into the woods and eat only rabbits. Therefore, we must make an addition to this trophic level chart. Sam and Luke are added as consumers of the rabbit population. In fact, Sam and Luke ate the entire rabbit population. Now let's see what happens to the grass, deer, and wolves as a result. This may get a little complicated, so try to pay attention. A red arrow will represent something bad for an organism, while a green arrow will represent something good for an organism. Due to the rabbit's disappearance, the consumption rate of grass is going to go down. Because more grass is growing, the deer population will be able to eat more of this grass. But the wolf population will have no more rabbits to eat, and will therefore have to prey more on the deer. Wolves now have no rabbits to eat, but they have a larger amount of deer to eat because the deer are eating more grass. And with that, I think we're done. Bye.